In about a day or so, one of the best PvE unit in the game, Feng Xun, is gonna have his rerun banner. If you've been around for a little while, you'll know how good Feng Xun is, but if you're a new player and you don't know what the hype around Feng Xun is all about, just one simple phrase: he has everything. This is one unit that I can truly say is a jack of all trades. One unit that has pretty much everything in his kit, and is not just mediocre at them, but also the best at what he does. First off, he has two forms of healing. The first one being his S1, which targets the lowest HP ally whenever he does his damage with his S1. The second form of healing is when he has the March Wind effect, he also gives lifesteal effect of 30% of the damage to all of your allies. So just in terms of healing, he's already the best in the game for PvE. Those are pretty much the two best factors of healing that you can get for PvE. If the boss cannot one-shot you, you are pretty much safe from any dangers. Number 2, he has the best offensive buffs in the game: attack up, speed up, and crit damage up, while also having the highest uptime for all three of the buffs. I've mentioned this a lot of times. For a support to be good, they need to provide the buffs at a very high uptime, and this is possible because of his Heaven's Wheel effect. The carrier gains a random bonus for 2 turns when casting abilities. 2 turns! So if you can get decent luck, you'll have attack up, speed up, and crit damage up at 100% uptime. That's the best a support can provide. And not only that, when you get him to R2, he also gives 25% AP, so he's also an AP pusher. And not only that, he also provides defense down, and he's the only unit in the game that AP push, buff, attack up, crit damage up, speed up, and lands defense break, AoE, all in one action, one skill. That is extremely rare for an Esper to have. And that's also not all. He also boosts your allies' damage based off of the enemy's max HP up to your own attack. So this guy has everything that I listed just now. And I'm not even done. I'm not even done glazing this fool. He has all of those stuff while also surpassing 95, 99, I would say 99% of the DPS in the game. Now, it is recommended for you to go to R2 Feng Xun. This is pretty much like his baseline. You can have him at R0, he works fine, but his R2 is going to be his biggest boost. In this video, I'm actually going to convince you to go all the way to R5 if you have the additional wish stones. If you don't, might be best to save them and just go for his R2. There's going to be 3 reasons. The first one is going to be Falsetto Fantasy. Now, ever since Feng Xun was released a year ago, like a full year ago, he has been part of the best scoring team for all 3 of the Falsetto Fantasy bosses. Now, is that coincidence, or is he just that good? Well, it's been a year, so it's definitely not coincidence. He is just that good. Part of the best scoring team for all 3 of the bosses for a whole entire year is unheard of. It's insane. But yeah, I'm just going to show you a couple of runs, and the reason why you want to R5 him in Falsetto Fantasy. And that's because, like I said, he surpasses like 99% of the DPS in the game. If you look at Team 3, a support doing 9 million damage is insane. He's doing the same damage as Fushi, and Fushi is a DPS pretty much, right? Doing more damage than Wu as well. He's a support, by the way. Now for Sonica, he's going to be doing a little bit less because he is getting debuffed by Sonica, but still 6 million and doing 3% of the total damage is pretty insane. And Darksala is where he scores the highest in terms of his own damage. 10 million damage for a support, 6% overall damage. You can even go like to 15 million if you equip him with a Thor set or Calamity set. Going from R2 to R5, I think it's gonna add about 10 million across all 3 of the bosses, right? For your overall score. So that's a lot of points. Reason number 2 is going to be DISLYTE Lens. For Shadowstream, he is the main DPS for pretty much every single team in the leaderboard right now. Like every single team is running him because he is just that good. Like I said, he surpasses 99% of the DPS in the game, right? So as expected, every single team in the leaderboard right now is making him as the primary DPS. So yeah, I got 186 million personal best very recently. And in this team, he's competing against an R4 Mingxiu D5, by the way. That's a legendary shimmer, the hardest hitting nuker in the game, and he is out DPSing Mingxiu. Okay, there's a very important distinction between sustained DPS and a burst DPS, right? Mingxiu is a burst DPS. He's not really that good for sustain, but when you put him on relief set, it becomes pretty decent. Feng Xun, however, is a very strong sustained DPS. So every single turn that you take, he's going to be doing damage. That's why he surpasses 99% of the DPS roster, right? For contents like Falsetto Fantasy or the Shadow bosses. And here's the damage layout. No surprise, again, he's doing almost double the damage of Ming Shuo. And Ming Shuo is the strongest nuker in the game right now. 500,000 healing, 91 million damage. Amazing. So yeah, for Shadowstream, the more resonance you get, the more score you get because he is the main DPS. And also because he scales off of both attack and HP, his R5 resonance is gonna add a lot of DPS for you. Now, last but not least, the reason you want to R5 him is because of Ying Long. Ying Long right now, the best strategy requires insane stats on Feng Xun. Now the strat I'm talking about is this 5-turn strat right here. Basically, your Feng Xun needs to have stats that isn't from this world. You need to have about 67 to 69,000 attack, and then you also need about 140 to 150% crit damage. Now the reason why you need all of those stats is for you to consistently clear wave 1 within 1 turn. My Feng Xun right now is not good enough to one-shot the first wave. I have 68,000 HP and 140% crit damage, but I'm just slightly off of the HP threshold to one-shot the first wave. Okay, so in order to get the consistent 5 turns, you need to clear the first wave consistently within 1 turn. So when Feng Xun does his S3, you'll have multiple scenarios, but to get the lowest RNG possible, you need all of the stats in Feng Xun. And what I mean by lowest RNG possible is you just need to land 1 crit out of the 2 from your S3 proc, and also you don't need to land the defense break. Let me see if I can replicate it. Okay, there we go. I landed 1 crit, 1 non-crit, and also missed the defense break. But because I don't have enough stats on my Feng Xun, again, he's R6 and D5 by the way, I don't clear the first wave within 1 turn. You also need to have R6, D6 Elif as well, but Feng Xun's Resonance and Divinate is also a big component to clearing the first wave within 1 turn consistently. So this is also part of the reason why you might want to R5 him, just to have that additional bit of damage that you get from him to clear the first wave consistently within 1 turn. So yeah, that's about it. Hopefully I convinced you to get R5 Feng Xun, but if you don't have enough to R5 him, R2 Feng Xun is 100% a must get. You pretty much can't compete in any of the PvE content that I mentioned just now if you don't have him at R2. And since the PvE ranking is very tight, it's very competitive, getting him as soon as possible to R5 is going to be very beneficial for you, because the sooner you can lock in your rank for Shadowstream and Ying Long, the better it is for you. And yeah, that's about it. Ciao.